In this lesson, we will learn how to multiply decimals using an algorithm. To multiply decimals, there's really one simple method. You should first set up the factors like you are multiplying whole numbers. Second, count how many decimal places are behind the point in your factors for both numbers. This sum will tell you how many places you need to drag that decimal point from the right to the left in your final product. Let's take a look at my first example. I'm multiplying 2 and 48/100ths times 3 and 2/10ths. My first step, I need to set up the problem as if I were multiplying whole numbers, where my last digit of my second number falls right under the last digit of my first number. I pay no attention to decimal placement when lining these up. Next, I'm going to multiply the factors as I would any whole number, using appropriate placeholders when needed. Then I'm going to count how many digits are to the right of my decimal points in my two factors. I have 1, 2, 3 places to the right of my decimal point in the two numbers that I'm trying to multiply. Therefore, in my final product, I need to drag my decimal point from the right to the left 1, 2, 3 spots in my final answer. Therefore, for my product of 2 and 48/100ths times 3 and 2/10ths, I find that 7 and 936 thousandths would be my answer. My next example multiplies a decimal by a whole number, but you should still follow the very same steps that were explained before. First, I'm going to set up my problems as if I were multiplying regular whole numbers, where the last digit of my second number falls right underneath the last digit of my first number. I pay no attention to decimal placement whenever I line up my numbers. Next, I would multiply my numbers just like I would regular whole numbers. Finally, I would count how many places are to the right of my decimal point in my factors, and I see 1, 2 places to the right of my decimal point in my factors. Therefore, in my final product, I need to drag my decimal point from the right to the left 1, 2 spaces in my answer. For my product of 3 and 45/100ths times 8, I find my final answer being 27 and 60/100ths, or 27 and 6/10ths. When given a problem like 28 times 245, would you choose to write this multiplication sentence vertically as shown? Or would you choose to place 245 on the top and 28 on the bottom? 5 times 10 is the same thing as 10 times 5, is it not? Therefore, how would you line up the following problem? 2 and 8/10ths times 2 and 45/100ths. When multiplying these two factors together, I would choose to place the number with the most amount of digits on the top and the number with the least amount of digits on the bottom. When I line them up, I pay no attention to the decimal point, meaning the last digit of my second number falls right underneath the last digit of my first number. I'm going to multiply these numbers as if they were whole numbers, inserting the appropriate placeholders. Then count how many places to the right of my decimal point I have in both my factors. I see 1, 2, 3 places to the right of my decimal points in my factors. Therefore, I need to drag my decimal point from the right to the left 1, 2, 3 spots to place it in my final answer. This gives me my final product of 6 and 860 thousandths, or 6 and 86/100ths.